Committee to order. This agenda was posted in the office of the county clerk on the 20th day of May, 2021. Notice was sent to the West Bend Daily News, Express News, WIBD, WMBZ Radio, WTKM Radio, My Community Now, Hartford Times Press, the Kewaskum Statesman, and the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. We're all here except for William Smechek, who is excused. He's ill. Okay. We'll rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Commissioner Schmidt has asked that we remove items C and D from the consent agenda because they merit a little bit extra discussion. So exempting them, I would look for a motion or any discussion on the consent agenda.
I have one question.
Marcy?
In the highway update, it refers to the truck that was damaged in the snow. How old was the truck that got damaged in that big pileup?
I believe it was 5 years old, 5 or
Okay,
6
so
years
it
old.
wasn't one, but still newer.
Relatively newer,
Yeah.
yes.
And was our man okay?
Yes.
Okay.
He actually, we took him in for the drug and alcohol test. He actually came back and worked till about 8:45 that night, helping with
Okay.
cleanup.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Relatively okay, obviously.
All right, thank you.
Any further discussion, comment? Well, then I'd look. Doug makes the motion. Second from John. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. So Scott, you want to talk about item C?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The ridership update, just to note on the bottom of the first page of the transit ridership update report, there's a paragraph in there that I think is worth noting as we discuss the future of the commuter express going forward in Washington County. Transit was recently in contact with Milwaukee County and downtown businesses, Milwaukee County's bus service, that is. We're hoping that with the extensive construction at I-41 will increase ridership. But a lot of the downtown businesses are not bringing back everybody. They're looking at bringing back 40%. We have like a certificate program with them, right? The companies purchase the tickets and give them to their employees to ride. That's being reduced by about 40%. And even though those 40%, not all that 40% is coming every day, right? So they're commuting and going from home. So when you look at the last page of that report, the ridership numbers, where you can tell coming last year, again, after the pandemic, after the stay-at-home order was issued, starting in June of last year, right around 991, 1,010, 944, 1,200, 1,200, 967, 1,000, 1,200, 1,200, 1,400, 1,200. You can kind of see the trends just not picking up. And now that most people had the opportunity to be vaccinated, I'm not saying everybody is, obviously, that, it was one thing maybe we thought that once they're vaccinated, that ridership would leap, jump, do something. We just haven't seen that yet. But I just wanted to point this out as we discuss budgets coming forward, stuff that you're looking at those numbers and seeing that. We're hearing on the back end too that the fear was people might not be going back to work, right? The workplace has changed, and we are hearing that as well. But we're continuing to monitor this again with the northbound reconstruction of north leg of the zoo interchange. With that construction going on, might increase ridership. We're hoping for, but it's just hope right now. But I just wanted to make sure you're aware of that we have contacted Milwaukee County Transit and some of our larger users downtown, and they already said they're going to be reduced by about 60%, about 40% coming back, and of those 40%, not all of them are coming back every day. So just want to make sure you're aware of that right now.
And I'll also add, I spoke to the committee chair for Ozaukee County a couple weeks ago, and they're looking at us kind of to take the lead on this. They have the service provided by Milwaukee County, which shut it off at some point in the pandemic, and it's just coming back. But they're really wondering too, what's going to happen.
Yes, we're working closely. I do want to give a credit to Milwaukee County Transit. Our relationship in the past was strained, but with new management down there, it's really much better. The communication lines are open, and we're meeting on a monthly basis now and looking at their options with our Commuter Express, whether that's a frequent flyer, the bus rapid transit line, stuff like that. So really appreciate Milwaukee County working with us on potential solutions, as well as Washington County. I think that really helped having that dual transit manager, because Milwaukee County had a good relationship with Ozaki County doing their bus service, and having that manager in both roles has really opened up that door for Washington County.
Okay. Yep. Go ahead, Marcy.
Sorry. While we're on the buses, it says we're not doing the bus wrap anymore. Is that because the new company we have doesn't want it? Okay.
If you've seen their buses, if you've seen their buses going down the freeway or the highway, you can see Coach USA on the side. So they want to make sure they're predominantly having that displayed on their buses right now.
Brad, since we pulled these out of consent agenda, we need to approve them now?
Yes.
And should we do them separately or together?
You won't need to then if that was just a report.
Thank you. All right, you want to move on to the next item, then, Scott?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. The next one is our trainer review for transit. Just to point out that the trainer review is something that was done by the federal government. They've got anywhere from 7 to 10 people that really look at everything we do in transit, from finances to policies, long checklists, and just a kudos to Joy, Roy Hartman, and our finance team here at Washington County. They only found 2 findings, which is an incredibly low amount of findings. Findings of things that we didn't do right in that time period. One of them, we weren't even aware of it, of one of the policy changes that the feds did. They give the policy comes from the feds down to the state. They let us know. Well, they didn't let the state know, and the state didn't let us know. So the 2 things that we missed, and 2 policy updates that we're undertaking, was number 1 is if one of our vendors, remember we have STS does our shared ride taxi and Coach USA does our Commuter Express, they're now required that if they get sued somehow, some way, they have to let us know they're being sued. So not a big policy change, but a policy change nonetheless. That's when it didn't come through the grapevine. But like I said, not a big deal. Hopefully we don't have to address that. The second one has to do with finances. I know there's a lot of information in here. What it basically runs down to is that when Washington County, we do our budget, the money gets put for transit into a specialized fund, as you know. And so what we do is when STS or Coach USA puts a draw request in, we pay their bill right away using county funds and ask the federal government for reimbursement. What this policy is if we do it the opposite way, there's some communities that ask for the reimbursement first because they don't have the money on hand, and then provide that money to the vendor. Well, the policy says you have to do that within 3 days if you do that route. Well, we don't do that, but that's what our policy has to say, that if we request the money first from the federal government, we have to make sure we provide that check to our vendor within 3 days of that request, which isn't a big deal for Washington County because, again, we will get that request in from STS or Coach USA. We'll pay the invoice and ask for that reimbursement from the federal government. So it works out very well in that. But those were the only 2 findings, which are so minor, we believe. It's just a great testament to Joy, previous transit manager Joe Steyer, who's now in Parks, getting all that documentation ready to go. And it's a little more challenging because it's all done remotely. So instead of just handing them the piece of paper and having them come in, everything had to go into a folder and shared and back and forth and stuff. So it's a little more labor intensive this time, scanning in a lot of documents like pay stubs and everything else. So they put a lot of effort into it. We're really proud of Joy and the work she's done to get that accomplished. But again, 2 minor policy changes that really hopefully won't impact Washington County.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments, discussion? Okay, then we'll move on to action item 5A, and I'll read an email first. After discussions with Josh, and Josh talked to the landowners and everyone, I sent this email to Josh a couple days ago. Josh, after a discussion yesterday and further thought, I request that you exercise a partial veto on the relocation order for County Highway S. This order bothered me from the start as it was passed by an emotional board without due consideration of all the safety factors and accurate projected traffic numbers. The only way the work on County Highway S could result in a safe design would be with the decreased traffic numbers that would result if the Highway W extension was eventually done. With the agreement now that that project is off the table, it would be nearly useless to pursue the County Trunk S relocation in its present form, because obviously more engineering and design is needed. Thus, I believe that a partial veto of the relocation order is the best solution for now, allowing the county to look at all possible options for providing our citizens safe and efficient traffic flow in the area. I did. There was a similar email sent from Supervisor Krebs, and I believe the landowners in the area also sent a similar email. So with the veto that came through yesterday late, you want to discuss this? We're looking actually to table this indefinitely for now. Really for now. Right, but yeah.
From a procedural standpoint, Mr. Chairman, if I may, I think what you'll want to do is make a motion to pass the resolution, and then if the will of this committee is to postpone, then a subsequent motion to postpone indefinitely would be in order. And at that point, if that motion passes, then that would kill off this relocation order for the duration of this session, which lasts, of course, until next April.
Okay. Anybody?
You gotta love Robert's rules. You'll need a motion to pass the resolution that's back before you, and a second, and then a subsequent motion then to postpone passage or consideration indefinitely. And when you make that motion, you vote on that motion. If that motion passes, then this will essentially kill off this resolution for the duration of this session. If no motion is made, then theoretically the resolution can be brought back at any time. So that's why you want to make a motion to take up the resolution, then a motion to postpone it, if that's the will of the committee.
The first motion needs to be voted on too?
No, it's just a motion to pass the resolution, then a second, so you can discuss it. And then once discussion opens, then it's a motion to postpone indefinitely.
Okay, I will so move. Marcy seconds.
And now with that, if you can have discussion if you so choose, or you can immediately someone can make a motion to postpone indefinitely, and then we'll need a second on that. And then you can talk about the merits of postponing if you so choose, or you can vote.
Well, like I just stated in my email, it's not safe the way it is. We'd have to put up signs on 175, say dangerous intersection ahead, and we can't put signs on a state highway. So that's my 2 cents. Doug?
I agree that there's more work to be done now because this was designed with W in there. So I would make the motion to postpone indefinitely.
Oh, thank you. I look for a second. John? It's been moved and seconded. Do we have any further discussion? Marcy?
So while it's in the background, they'll still be working on trying to figure out a solution for up there.
Correct.
Okay.
The partial veto cut the number down from 500,000 to 100,000, which is enough money to do engineering work to try to find a better solution. All right, any further discussion? With none, I look for a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Our next meeting is Wednesday, June 23rd. This meeting's adjourned.
Much better when I think about this stuff. Slow it down before I try to talk.
A lot of times I do too, yeah. So, they had good email, perhaps someone too, that was good. So some of the homeowners, so basically what I put out in public, everybody else is agreeing, but everybody's like killing me on Facebook about it.
Are there any highway engineers?
No, it's a bunch of lefties. That's the only real contacts I've had on this is a bunch of lefties. Jody Allen, Marianne Ridership, Sue Baker, Bridget Hill. They're all lefties who are never going to vote for me anyway. But I think they smell blood in the water, and they think, oh, we can run somebody against master, they can use it. Well, my district. I want to do the right thing, but people in my district don't care about the highway. That's how I am.
Unless they're trying to drive hard.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
And now if they're gonna drive the Hartford, they're gonna go with.